Hey guys, welcome to the Be For Real podcast episode 28.
The big 28.
The big
That's
28.
almost 30.
We're almost in our 30s.
We're almost in our 30s. Ew, don't say that. That's like too scary.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes, and thriving.
We hope you guys had a great week. We're kind of recording this a bit earlier in the week because Talia is leaving to LA.
Bye.
You're like, bye to this weather.
See you.
So it kind of feels weird because we just like recorded.
Yeah, we like just saw each other the other day, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
So I'm like, okay, let's do our catch up. So what's new this weekend?
What is it? Yeah, literally just this weekend, pretty
Yeah.
much. Honestly, for me, not really anything. I didn't have any. I guess this was like Halloween weekend, number one, because I guess there's two. Like people are still gonna do Halloween like this weekend too. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Halloween weekends for the probably like 7th year in a row. Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So don't have FOMO because I was also at home doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much just worked all weekend. So, and I also just didn't have plans. So
Yeah.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I've just been prepping for my trip, running around like a crazy person. And yeah, just kind of being in that zone. So yeah, I didn't really get up to anything this weekend. Yeah. What about you?
Love that. Honestly, I feel like nowadays it's more popular to not do anything on Halloween than to do things on Halloween.
Especially where we live.
I know.
I feel like there's just not a lot going on unless you have like a circle of friends that do something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at our age, it's just like what's like nobody's throwing house parties anymore.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, this weekend was actually really chaotic and fun for me. Usually I'm used to just like very slow weekends, get to reset myself. And this weekend was definitely not like that. So yeah, on Friday, one of my friends, Lexi, came into town because Saturday was my older sister Brittany's her birthday. And since her birthday's around Halloween, she decided to throw a costume party for her birthday. So this is like the first time in forever. I literally haven't done anything for Halloween in ever. Like literally the last time I did something was with you and we went out for that one night, but that was just like a last minute costume. Like I literally just went and bought ears and that was like I called it a day. So
I know I don't even consider that like we did anything because we went out for like an hour.
I literally
like that was it.
Yeah. So yeah, we actually got to like plan a costume and dress up, and Joel and I went as Fred and Daphne from Scooby-Doo, obviously.
So good. Did you get any pictures?
Yeah, we did. And
insert here.
It was cute. It was a little like Amazon costume. I just like ordered everything separately and called it a day.
Just put it together.
So that was really fun. And then on Sunday, Lexi, like, because she lives on the island, so she just like take the ferry to go back home. So yesterday we drove her back home and we just like hung out and whatever. And then now we're here, but I feel very discombobulated because usually my weekends I reset myself. I maybe will do like one thing and then like the rest of the weekend I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna plan my week out, but I didn't do any of that this weekend, so I literally feel so off put today. And so I guess like after we record this, I'm just gonna take like the rest of the day to do like my cleaning, wash my sheets, like my reset, plan my week out. So that'll be good because I can't start my week off like that.
No,
like there is no way. I'm so, you guys know, routine, structure oriented, and I just need to make sure that I have everything planned out for the week. My space is clean, so my mental health will be happy.
Yes. She loves that. We know.
Period.
If there's anything about her, we know she loves her routine.
Yes, we said it 1,000 times.
You're sick of it. So we know she needs a routine, okay?
Yes, but I will keep showing it and talking about it my whole life.
Absolutely.
So,
won't end. So
yeah, sorry guys.
Buckle up.
You're choosing to listen. So yeah, anyways, that basically sums up since we last, talked. I just had a really busy but fun weekend. It's nice to, I guess, have a weekend like this once in a while. Yeah. And to be very social, but after a weekend like this, I feel like my social battery is at -1%. Like I am dead socially, and I'm just like, I just need to not talk to anybody for a full day.
No, I feel that too.
So yeah, later I'm literally just gonna put my headphones on and like go ham in the house and start cleaning and just like reset my mind.
Love that for you.
So yeah, that's the vibes. But for today's episode, we asked you guys some questions on our Instagram, like just like on advice, like if you guys want us to give you any advice. And we actually got some really good questions. I totally forgot that I had asked it like on Friday or Thursday whenever I put the question thing up. I didn't even look at the questions, and then you texted me and you're like, oh, we actually got good questions. And I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah. No, I forgot too, and then I realized, I was like, oh no, I wonder if like you can only see them for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh no, what if they're gone?
Shit. Yeah, because we both like completely forgot.
I know. And then I looked, but they were still there, so we're good.
So yeah, I guess we could just like get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Okay, so one of the responses we got was, what is your advice to stop overthinking literally everything in every social interaction ever?
That's a good one, honestly.
Yeah.
At the core of it, the reason why you're overthinking it is because you care. Like, you care a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you almost care too much. And maybe you care too much about what other people think about you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because why else are you going to be like overthinking it so much? If you didn't give a shit about what other people thought about you, then why would you start like spiraling in your head?
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me too. I find like whenever I'm overthinking situations, it's things that it's over things that I think are important, or it's like a person I think is important. And it's because like you're worried about maybe the way you came off, because I don't know if whether that's you're trying to portray a version of yourself, or it's like you feel insecure about like your actual self, and that's why you overthink it. Like that's what I can think, for example, because in my experience, anytime that I've like really been overthinking situations, it's something that's important, something you care about, and that's why. And then you just worry about it, which is I feel like I'm pretty good now these days at not overthinking everything. I definitely can overthink things, absolutely. I find with me specifically is like when it comes to boys stuff is like I'll overthink, because like that's just not something I do all the time. Like it's not something I frequent. Like I'm not talking to guys all the time. Like it's not, in my forte right now. So then when I do, I'm like, oh, like, now I'm overthinking it because I'm like, I'm not so used to this. Like I don't do this all the time. So it's like also things that are out of your comfort zone, right? If it's just like having a conversation with your best friend that's like normal, you're so used to that, you're not really going to overthink that, right? So it's clearly, but it just means like I think the things that you are overthinking about are probably important things. And I don't know what I was gonna say actually. My train of thought just left the station.
Left the chat.
There was something there, and it left the chat actually. But oh my god, I don't know.
Honestly,
you want to add?
I just think that the saying that it's like whatever is in your control, but whatever's out of your control, don't worry about. And that like ties into overthinking. Things that you can't control, like if you have an interaction with somebody and you leave there overthinking it, you cannot control what just happened in the past.
You also can't control other people's perception of you, even if like you weren't overthinking a situation and you thought like, oh, I just presented myself really well, and you're not overthinking it. Either way, you can't change how that person perceived you, which it may not be how you thought, right? So
and it's completely out of your control. And 99.9% of the times that you're overthinking something, you're completely making a false narrative in your head.
Yes, always.
That is not even true. And then that's just going to lead to things spiraling even more and more and more for absolutely no reason. It just all ties down to the fact that it's like some things you can control and some things you can't. And I feel like it also roots down to caring about what other people think about you, because like I said, if you didn't care about what other people think about you, then you wouldn't be going to spiral, because who gives a shit, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's just kind of like at the end of the day, you have to be very confident within yourself. And I think that once you reach a good point in that, you will stop overthinking a lot of things and having anxiety about, social situations with other people. Yeah, there's always a deeper reason for everything.
Yeah, I agree on like the confidence thing too, because I find like I'm a fairly confident person majority of the time, so that's why I feel like I don't overthink a lot of situations. Like when I just have conversation with like people, I don't know, people at work or whatever, but sometimes it can be like, did I say the right thing, or like, oh, maybe overthink because like, oh, maybe I should have said this too, like I forgot a part, like there's things like that. But same thing like with the confidence. When you are confident, you just have confidence in everything you're saying, so it doesn't really matter. So maybe just try and work on like your confidence and not caring what other people think. I think that's a good place to start. And we do have episodes on how we've talked about that in the past, like on how to gain confidence and whatnot. So you can always check that out if you want any more tips on that.
Yeah, we do actually have a good episode out. But yeah, I think that's like the root of the issue. And also that plus just knowing that in this life, there are things that you can fully control and there are things that you can't fully control. And you have to work on knowing that, like, at the end of the day, everything is meant to be the way it's supposed to be. And you overthinking things in those types of situations, what is that helping?
Nothing.
Absolutely
It doesn't do
nothing.
anything besides stress you out even more.
It actually makes the situation way worse for yourself because you're putting all this stress and this burden on your mind that doesn't need to be there. And then that is slowly going to manifest into other things.
Yeah.
And that is just not good. Just next time, if you start overthinking something or have anxiety about a certain situation, ask yourself a couple questions. Just be like, why am I overthinking this? Is this in my control? Could this be solved if I just, trusted myself and had confidence in myself?
Yeah.
That will hopefully help you, navigate and get through the situation. And obviously it's going to vary from person to person, but like that's through my experience with overthinking and having social anxiety about certain situations. That was the root of the cause of the problem for me. And ever since I overcame that, I honestly could say like I really don't overthink many things anymore. If I start like sensing myself spiral about a certain thing, I just literally will ask myself those questions and like work through it and get over it and won't let myself, fall into a deep dark hole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I want to add too is if it has to do with like social interactions and whatnot, no one is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you see how like in your head you are? That's probably how the other people could feel as well. Like just remember that, no one's sitting there analyzing every single little thing that you just did like you did. So
yeah.
Everyone does that about themselves.
Yeah. No.
You're good, girl. Period.
Yeah. Period. You're good.
Period. You're good.
And stop overthinking.
Don't do it. Okay, the next one we got is what's some advice for avoiding winter depression? And we just did like an episode on that. So I feel like definitely just check out that episode.
Yeah.
Kind of like our winter arc and the fall glow up one. Like they both kind of tie into it.
Our last two episodes before this one.
Because it'd be super repetitive for us to just...
Yeah.
We pretty much just talked about that. So if you haven't checked out those last two episodes, definitely check those out because that's pretty much like exactly what we talk about.
That's literally what all the episodes are about.
Yeah.
In depth. So
so go check those ones out. Absolutely. Yeah. But great question.
Yeah. 27 and 26.
Okay. Another one is advice for living on your own. You can take this one away.
Okay. Wow. That's like very, I could go so many different ways with this.
Yeah.
I guess one piece of advice I have is before moving out on your own, there could be so many things to stress about. Like you could calculate how much money you're going to estimate spending on groceries, how much money your hydro bill is going to be, how much money your Wi-Fi bill is going to be. And you can kind of stress yourself out thinking like, holy shit, like there's a lot to like take care of in every aspect living on your own. Like you have to cook all your meals by yourself. If you don't go grocery shopping, there's no food in the house. If you don't cook a meal, there's no dinner. Your parents aren't there to do anything for you. If you don't do your laundry, your mom's not going to do it for you, So it's easy to kind of just like sit in those doubts and be like, shit, am I ready to move out? And that can really restrain and hold you back from moving out and living on your own. And if I sat in those like doubts and things before I moved out, I don't think I ever would have moved out. Yeah. If I like listened to my practical part of my brain in that sense, I don't think I would have ever took the leap and actually moved out because it's so, scary to take on all of that financial and just like mental aspect of like living on your own. It could be scary, but like if you feel called to move out and live on your own, you just kind of have to take the leap and everything will work out. Like it's so hard to just make excuses why you shouldn't move out and everything, but if you feel called to move out and you think that you're ready, don't let all of those scary things like stand in your way. Yeah. Because eventually you're going to have to do it anyways. And you know how people say like you're never going to be fully ready to have kids, but you just if you want kids, you just have to do it.
You're never fully ready to do anything.
Exactly. There's never like a perfect time. And if you're waiting for the perfect time, you're never going to do it.
It'll never happen.
It'll never. So like that is kind of so true when it comes to moving out. It's like if you wait for the perfect time to do it, you're never going to do it. Yep. And when Joel and I moved out, we had nothing to our name, like literally nothing. We didn't even have one roll of toilet paper. We didn't even have one pillow. We had nothing to our name. And that could have made us not take the leap to move out.
Yeah.
But instead, we just kind of like pushed all of those doubts and everything to the side. And we were just like, you know what? Fuck it, because we're going to have to do this eventually. And like, you can't let fear hold you back. Yeah, I guess that would be like my biggest tip for living alone.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays with like things are pretty expensive and everything. As long as you could, like, obviously don't move out if you have zero income, because like
might not work.
It might not work out for you, but you know what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
if you know that you could do it, but you're still just a bit scared because like, you know, doubts can come in the way.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like take that leap of faith, and everything in life ends up being an experience. Whether it works out and you live alone for the rest of your life beyond that point, or whether, oh wait, you lived on your own for a year and you just decided that maybe you want to move back home for a bit and you're in transition, or it didn't work out. Like that 1 year that you were moved out is good, would teach you so many things.
Yeah. The growth you'd get from that is
phenomenal.
Is valuable.
Exactly. You just have to realize like whatever happens in that situation, it's like it was all meant to be, either to teach you a lesson or like whatever it is. It's all part of your journey, and that's why you can't let fear hold you back from doing things. Because like when we moved out, we kind of accepted the worst case scenario, and we were just like, look, if it doesn't work out, then the worst case scenario is that we're going to have to move back in with our parents.
Yeah. And
just accepting that worst case scenario and then moving on and having a positive mindset about it is everything. Yeah. I guess, yeah, when it comes to, you know, advice for living on your own.
Do you have any random like little tips? Like let's say in your house, like something that's like randomly important that you're like, oh, you should get it this helps, or maybe like a safety thing, you should do this, or like just any like random like little things that maybe people wouldn't think about?
That's a good question.
She's looking around here like, literally, what could you use?
Like honestly, before moving out, I was pretty independent anyways. Like it's not like my parents really babied us in terms of like doing our own shit, you know? So I think I was prepared in that sense already. But like thinking about any random tips, like I don't know. Honestly, if you guys want to find like cheap furniture, go thrifting, because like low-key there's some really good pieces you could find. Like
I was gonna say your Facebook Marketplace. Furniture on there, there's good finds for sure.
And you could find like you don't need to spend $10,000 on a couch.
No,
you could literally spend $100 and find like a good decent couch and clean it up and call it a day. Don't go in it thinking you have to buy the most expensive things. And also it's like, what I realized is like moving into a space, you don't need everything to be just complete within a month. No. We have lived in this house for over a year now, and I'm still doing things. Yeah. Like I am still completing like rooms and things in the house. Yeah.
Or like tools that you don't have. One day you'll go and like make soup and be like, oh, I don't have a ladle.
Yes.
And be like, oh, that's something I don't like, you know what I mean? Just like little things that like you don't need to get every single tool, every single like appliance ever in the first week that you live there. It's a progress.
Exactly. Progress. And then like, oh, once you realize that, oh shit, I'm missing a ladle, just write that down in your phone, and then, you know, slowly start to buy things as you realize you need them. Yeah. Because it's so funny. Like sometimes, literally to this day today, there'll be like the one-off random thing where I'm like, damn,
I don't have that.
I do not have that, which is so funny. Just like the odd thing, like spare pillow. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it's like, shit, like I should get a spare pillow, you know?
Also, you can get like a lot of cheap stuff from the dollar store, honestly. Like my mom, like whenever like stuff breaks and she's like, just needs something quick, like she'll just go and get like example, a ladle. Yes. Like they have just like cheap $2 like kitchen utensils or things like that. I feel my mom always gets a bunch of them and they just like break easily. And then she's like, well, whatever, I'll just buy another one for $2.
Yes. And honestly, okay, this is like a really random tip that I just thought of. So my parents are the type of people that always buy like really good quality things. For example, let's just say a ladle. Okay,
ladle is the topic of the day.
Let's keep this going.
The ladle.
So they'll buy like a really expensive $50 ladle, but then if the ladle gets scratched, they're like, oh my god, it was such an expensive ladle, like I can't believe this got scratched. I do the opposite now. Okay, I will buy like a whole utensil set on Amazon for like $30. Yeah. And if something gets scratched, if something breaks, if something whatever,
don't care.
I really don't care, because guess what? I could just go buy another one easily because it's just cheap. And I do believe there's some pieces that it's like, okay, this is worth investing your money in because,
I agree too.
But on other things, it's like you don't need to spend
just prioritize
so much
what
money.
Things need to be spent, like you can spend good money on, and what you don't need to spend good money on.
Exactly. And it's especially things that things are going to get wear and tear.
Yeah.
Like, for example, this couch. This isn't the $20,000 restoration hardware cloud couch.
Yeah.
Because I know that I am going to stain it. The cats might scratch it.
Yeah.
So I know that if I spend $20,000 on a couch, I'm going to
be so upset every little thing that happens.
Every little thing that happened, I'm going to be stressed about. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I spent so much money on this. Like, what was the point?
Yeah.
So that's why I opted for a cheaper version of the couch so that when the cats scratch it, when I spill something on it, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I could just buy a new one if I need to. And I know down the line, it's like, maybe I'm not even going to want this couch in 5 years.
Yeah, fair enough, right?
And then it's like more justifiable in my head to upgrade the couch because I didn't really spend much money on it. And it's like, I just, over the past, like, I don't know, maybe I got this like a few months ago now, but I just bought a new set of pots and pans.
Yep.
Because when we originally moved, we just bought like a really cheap set. And then the original set that we bought, I'm like, I don't like the aesthetic of these anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go buy another cheap one that I like.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get bored and my aesthetic changes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I want to switch things up. Like, do I want to have the same colored pot for 10 years? No. So I'd rather just buy it cheaper and then get to change and switch things up.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So like I said, just invest in certain pieces that are really quality that you'll use. Like, for example, a vacuum. I have the Dyson, which is like $8,000 vacuum. But that I'm not going to cheap out on because we did buy originally when we moved out. We bought like a $200, maybe $100 vacuum.
They actually suck though. Vacuums are worth spending the money on.
Dude, like it didn't
pick up. A cheap vacuum sucks.
Dude, it didn't pick up shit. Yeah. Like, I swear to God, our house was never cleaned.
You have to like clean a million times.
Exactly. So getting a good quality vacuum, that was worth the spend.
Yeah. And
it's not something that I'm going to change the aesthetic of my vacuum. Like,
yeah, no, you don't care. It's just practical necessity.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't speak.
So I think that's like a really good tip is just, kind of thinking in your head and planning out, okay, like what am I going to allocate money towards, like invest in, and then what am I just going to thrift or just buy a bit cheaper or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like I said, down the road, you can always upgrade things and it's just less stressful at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I also have like one tip that I would say is make sure like if you're living on your own, specifically if that's just you by yourself or like with a roommate, make sure like your safety is prioritized too wherever you're living, whether that's having an alarm system or if you're a girl living by yourself in an apartment, like get like the extra door lock or like the little like stick, whatever, just because obviously living on your own, it can be, especially if you're younger too, it can be scary. I'm sure it's scary at times, coming home late by yourself or something like that. Just make sure like, you just, take the, what's the freaking word?
Like precaution.
Yeah, caution. Just take caution. Just make sure, obviously, you don't have to get like 18 security cameras, but even just a Ring camera, doorbell, just an extra lock, just things to keep you safe as well.
And also talking on security, if there's like a package that comes to the door that needs me to sign, I will never just go down there alone, or I will never tell anybody that I live here just with my boyfriend. Like, I will always make it sound like I live with a lot of people.
Yeah. And also just don't tell anyone where you live ever. Like, you can tell them the area, but just never tell the details if you live by yourself specifically.
Oh, yeah.
You never know. Creepers, whatever. Even if you're at like a cafe next door, be like, oh yeah, I live just in this building right there.
Yes,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just always err on the
just
side of caution.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm always so paranoid about that, so it's important to stay safe.
Because you never know.
Yes.
Okay, this is a really good one. I would love if you talked about the pressure of constantly feeling behind in life. And this person says that they're 21.
That's a really
I'm here
good
to remind you that COVID also took 2-3 years off of our lives. Just remember that, okay?
Yeah.
Because that was a whole era, years of time where nobody did shit. Nobody did nothing.
Yeah.
I understand that because I am 24 years old and I still feel like I could be 21, 20. Like those few years, literally we did nothing. We were behind. No one was like going to school really in there, like working. Like, I mean, you could do the odd thing, but for the prominent time of it, no one did shit for a year.
Yeah.
And I just take that into consideration. Also, if this person is 21, that means you would have been like, you're technically actually like 19 only.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're 18.
Just like minus years.
COVID years.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough, I find, especially when you get older, you'll realize that, because you get older, people start getting married, people start buying houses, having babies, you know, making huge investments and stuff like that. And there's people that are, you know, still just working their job that they hate, and they still live in their parents' house, and they have no responsibilities. They don't own a car. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's at super different points in their lives in their 20s. So it's definitely easy to compare and like feel behind than other people. Personally, I sometimes feel that way, but then I remember, I'm like, yeah, but this is my path and like my journey, so I don't find I'm behind. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, is like what I try and remember. You know, like, I have a friend who's literally married, owns a house, has a dog, the whole life is figured out, and I'm like, to be honest, I wouldn't want that, and I don't want that at some point in time. I do, but not right now. I'm like, that wouldn't be what I want right now. I'm on my path. I'm meant to do what I'm supposed to do. So like, it's like stuff like that doesn't make me jealous or make me think like, oh, I'm behind in life. I'm like, no, you're just at where you're supposed to be, and I'm where I'm supposed to be. It's just different, and that's totally fine, right? Like, we live different lifestyles. Yeah. You know, you've been with your partner for a long time now. Like, you're moved out as well, and like, I'm not. But yeah, it's like, that's just how it's supposed to be. And it personally, it can get to me like the odd time, but I find that's more, I just get in my head about, I don't know, just, it's more or less like I get in my head about like if I'm not at goals yet, or like I haven't achieved these goals I want to achieve. But it's, I don't feel like I'm behind in my life, so to speak. But I totally understand that feeling, especially if this person is 21. Oh my God, you're so much younger than me, and you're so much, like, you are not behind at all. Especially with those COVID years. Like, you're fresh. Like, you just started your life. Don't stress about it, please.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it's just like, it's so funny. I feel like, especially from online and what we see every single day.
Yes, that too.
It's like we see, you know, these TikTokers who are literally 17, 18 moving out to New York in like a high-rise penthouse that costs like $20,000 a month. And then you're like, you could be sitting there at the ripe age of 35 being like, whoa, like, you know. And that is the beauty about the whole fact that we are all on our own journeys, and we are all on our own paths. And if they all looked identical, shit would be so boring.
Yes, it would be.
Like, are you kidding me? It would be so boring. And I feel like each of us have come down to, in this lifetime, to do specific things and fulfill specific things. And looking at somebody that you're comparing yourself to at like, maybe they're the same age as you or whatever they're doing right now is like where they're supposed to be, and whatever you're doing right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. And as long as you're always like following, you know, your higher self, and you're doing what makes you happy at the forefront of that, I just feel like you are on the right track. As long as you're just like not making decisions out of fear, you're truly happy, you're on like the right, you know, part of your journey. And whatever happens, whatever decisions you make is all going to lead you to where you're meant to be. And it's so irrelevant to look at somebody your age and compare yourselves to them,
because the age part, it doesn't matter. Just because you're the same age, it does not matter. You don't know what like the other person's also been through in their life. Like, they could be acting also like super more grown up because they've had like some crazy trauma in their life, and they've been forced to grow up so early. So they've been grinding and literally working so hard since they were 12 years old. So they have all this more money, and they have, you know what I mean? And maybe you lived more comfortable and you haven't really had to work as hard until now that you're an adult. Like you're saying, you just have to remember that everyone is on their own path, and it's meant to be. And it's not a competition. It is not a competition. It's your life.
And I have seen so many like examples of people in only finding success in their 50s. Like becoming a millionaire / billionaire in their 50s.
Oh my God, Kris Jenner
was like the only time that they acquired wealth. And
there's so many people like all of their success in life came in their literally 40, 50s, 60s.
Exactly. And that is what was meant for their journey. And you have to realize that earlier success like wasn't meant for them to find just yet, because maybe they needed to learn more things before they acquired that wealth, or before they moved out, or whatever the case is. It's just like there's a reason behind everything, you know?
Divine right timing.
Yes. And unless you're right now, if you're not happy with your life, like if you're not in a good place, then okay, that's when you need to figure out and be like, okay, I actually do need to change something, you know? But if you're happy, doing great, and you're just vibing out right now, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
Yeah. It's just like the comparison thing is so toxic.
And social media is just so easy to do that. And we've talked about it before. It's so bad.
And it's so funny because it's like even me being moved out and being on my own, I still compare myself to people who are going on a private jet and like, you know what I mean? So it's like no matter what stage of life you're at, you're going to always find somebody to compare yourself to.
Yeah, 100%. There's always someone doing more than you are at the time.
So if you don't stop comparing right now where you're at, this little comparison game will never end, no matter what stage of your life that you're at.
Especially this person saying they're 21, like it'll only get worse. So stop it right now.
Yeah, literally stop it right now. Yeah. You have your whole life ahead of you. Enjoy the freaking journey.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at right now, let's say if you're living at home, but like you really want to move out within the next couple years and you're trying to make that happen, soak in those last few years that you're going to be home, because when you move out, most likely you're never coming back. Soak in that time that you're living at home and just like appreciate it, because that chapter is soon going to be closed and it will eventually be closed.
Yeah, and then that'll be it.
And that'll be it. So it's like really appreciate where you are at in your life right now, because soon enough, like you're going to be moved on to something else. And even me, sometimes I reminisce when I lived at home and I'm like, wow, sometimes I wish that I appreciated things more and wasn't so just like, ugh, I want to move out. I want to move out. Yeah. Because now I'm never moving back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just really appreciate where you're at, because you might, miss it one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one is, I've known a friend for 8 years, but no longer feel like I align, but I'm scared to end things.
Have you ever had experience with this?
Yeah, I would say so. I've had friendships that have been very long term. Just kind of like you just go different ways in the end. And I find that, especially when it comes to alignment, when you're just not aligning with a friend, like that's just something that's just going to kind of make you feel bad about yourself. Mm-hmm. Especially like if you feel bad about yourself, maybe hanging out with them or like doing the things that they like to do. Like say if it's just the activities they like to partake in that doesn't align with who you are and you're not into that, it's just going to make you feel like weird around them and not good. Mm-hmm. And then that just creates like bad energy within your relationship in general. Mm-hmm. And I know it's scary. It's definitely scary. But I think like even just taking step backs from the relationship or even just having a conversation. Conversations are scary, but even just acknowledging and just so they know too what page you're on. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like if you guys were true friends that they couldn't really be mad at that. Mm-hmm. Like if they actually are a truly understanding person, then they will accept like, okay, we're just in different points in our lives. We have different morals. We don't align as well as we did anymore, and that's totally fine. I definitely think a conversation would just be important. It's not like, oh, I don't like you anymore, I don't want to ever see you, but just maybe I'm not as comfortable with your lifestyle, my lifestyle anymore. But also I know that it is tough to kind of talk to someone, especially if you said you've been friends for 8 years. You could also just like pull back a little bit and then if a conversation comes about from that because someone is like you're acting distant, it's been weird, what's going on, then that can be the time instead of just out of the blue bringing that up if that hasn't been something that's ever brought up before. But I definitely think, just distance yourself and just kind of reflect and see like how you feel when you're distancing yourself, because I think that's just very telling. And at the end of the day, you have to be selfish and it's your life. And if you just don't feel right being around this person anymore, like unfortunately you have to take that step and do what's right for you in the end.
Yeah, the thing is like with growth and with getting older, sometimes friends that you've had along the way for years and years, like you guys are going to go your separate paths. And this has happened to me with one of my best friends from high school. We were friends for, I want to say 8 years, same amount of time. We were literally like glued to the hip. And when we graduated high school, things kind of started to change and we started like kind of going on our own paths and slowly, gradually just kind of started to
just grow apart.
Yeah, I was trying to find that word. Grow apart. It just kind of happened naturally. And we both kind of, I guess, felt that way. It was maybe a little bit more one-sided, but at the end of the day, it's like I kind of pulled myself back from that relationship and I was like, I just need to do what's best for me because you always have to put yourself first. I wasn't necessarily being treated the way that I thought I deserved to be treated in a friendship. And yeah, that led me to pull myself back, and she noticed that I was pulling back, and then we had a conversation about it. We had multiple conversations about it, and we tried to fix things, but honestly, it just didn't work out at the end of the day. And we decided that we're going to just like take, I don't want to say a break from each other, but more so just like each pull back and go our separate ways.
Yeah.
And as hard as that was, I think it was necessary, and it was all aligned and like part of the greater plan for each of us.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been like, honestly, I don't even know, maybe 3 years now or 2 years. I don't know. But since then, we haven't really talked since. And who knows, maybe in the future, we will reconnect and grow our friendship again and rekindle things, but maybe not. I don't know like what the future holds, and whatever is aligned is going to happen. Whatever's meant to be will be. And so just kind of taking things day by day, and the great memories that we had together and the friendship we had, you know, it could be hard reminiscing on it and being like, it's so sad that that ended. But when a door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
And you just always have to think of it like that, where it's like sometimes you need to shed people from your life in order to move on to greater and better things. If you are especially feeling like that, it's important to not surround yourself with people and things that don't align with your vibration anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to weigh you down.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Communication is important. Honesty is important. And at the end of the day, like, I stand behind the fact that communication will always like solve everything. Don't ever hide how you're feeling. Like, be honest.
Yeah.
And if that results in you guys, you know, taking a step back from each other completely and seeing where things go on your separate paths, or maybe working harder towards your friendship and seeing where that goes.
Yeah.
You have to talk about it, and you have to come to some sort of conclusion.
Yeah.
Or you're always going to feel really weird and awkward in this middle ground. That's not really a good place to be.
No.
You know?
And I definitely think that if you already are noticing that you don't really align with someone, that just means you're growing.
Yeah.
So just take that
as like a good thing.
As a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's natural. It happens. Friendships fall apart.
Yeah.
You grow separately. Then that's totally okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have a fun one. This is how to appear sexy but also friendly.
I would
say this one is all about your aura.
That's really funny. But yeah, no, 100% all about your aura. Your aura speaks volumes.
It does, and it speaks before you do.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? 100%.
Yeah, that'll walk into a room before you do.
Yeah.
I feel like it's honestly just always the way you carry yourself. And I feel like also like sexy and friendly can get confused because like people picture like sexy as someone who's like intimidating.
Yeah.
And maybe like so confident that like maybe they would come off as like arrogant or like rude because their aura speaks that highly.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, there's some middle ground with that. I really just think, honestly, it's your aura and how you carry yourself. And I really think, like, if you're a good person at heart and you have good intentions and you have, like, just a good vibe, that is just sexy in general. And you can pick up on that from people.
Yeah.
What's not sexy is when you got a nasty aura.
Yeah.
It's just when you have bad vibrations and people can feel that.
I was going to say, like, being sexy is not even, I wouldn't even say it's about your looks.
No.
You can have the quote unquote best looking person ever, societally, like best looking ever.
Yeah.
But then if their aura and personality is like shit, they're not sexy.
No.
Like, you know what it's
exactly
all about your aura.
Yeah. It's all about, your personality and how you carry yourself 100%. And I think there's this girl who's made like a series on TikTok and she's done it. I can't remember her name, but she's done like a series on how to just feel sexier every day, like for herself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so good. Like, it's just like little things like, and she's doing it like as a woman's like point of view, but just like how things she does just to make herself feel sexier every day and like literally just for herself to feel that way because it makes you feel good when you feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help it. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just say it's really like that just like stems from the inside. And just like the way you carry yourself, even just like your posture, like walking into the room and being like a little hunchback of Notre Dame. Like,
it's not
hot.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, literally just the way you carry yourself. And I also feel like it's an eyes thing. Like, I feel like for me personally, when you just walk into the room and pretend like you're the most confident there, not like you're arrogant, but like, oh,
there's a difference.
I'm confident. My shoulders are back. My head is up. I'm not walking in all like scared and like shy, right? Like, I feel like that just screams confidence, which is sexy as well. It's the confidence that's sexy. Yeah. But there's a fine line between being like confident and arrogant.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I find once you can hit the right spot on the fine line, you're good.
And also being friendly just kind of ties into that. Yeah. Like, if you're arrogant, you're not necessarily going to be the friendliest person. Yeah. If you're confident, I think you're going to be the friendliest person ever because you're not intimidated by anybody. Yeah. When you're arrogant, you're intimidated by people. Yeah. When you're confident, you're not.
So then the bad energy comes out. Exactly. You just feel that way. Yes. Automatically.
Exactly. So friendliness, I think, just comes in with that, where it's like if you are giving a sexy aura, you will be friendly because you're confident. Yeah. It just ties in hand.
It's just one in one. Yes. So yeah, definitely just work on your confidence, just how you carry yourself. And at the end of the day, like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah. No, literally, seriously, if you don't believe it at first, just fake it. Like, pretend like you're playing a character in a movie.
No, actually.
Yes.
And you're like the cheerleader, the head squad cheerleader, or like the jock of the team. Like, just fake it.
Take one of your favorite characters from a movie that you look up to and you think is like has the best aura and is hot. Just pretend to be them, and that will help you a lot.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, we have a couple more that we're just gonna like kind of rapid answer. Yeah. One is, I feel like a good question that I can answer because it's how to feel okay being single when all your friends are in relationships.
I could totally answer this one.
Yeah. Not.
I'm gonna let her take the mic on this one.
This one, oh my God, I have dealt with this so many times because a lot of my friends have been in relationships over the years and I have not. Mm-hmm. So I totally relate to this. I think it's hard because there's times where, say, you just, especially if like your life isn't super busy and active, when you have downtime and you're not like, you see all your friends that are in relationships with their significant other, it's super hard to be like, okay, well, I don't just have someone to just lay around with or do nothing with or whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know, like, it can be hard. I find making plans is hard because they always are like doing something, whatever. Not all the time, but depends on the couple. You know, they do stuff all the time. Or, you know, the friends that like make plans, but they don't actually have plans with their boyfriend or whatever, but they like won't let you make a plan with them because they might have a plan. I hate that. That's one thing I hate. Yeah. I'm like, girl, just, he can wait. Yeah. Like, you literally see each other all the time. Yeah. But another thing is, for me, I don't know. I just find there's instances where it can be annoying and it's like whatever, but at the same time, again, it's like you're meant to be where you're meant to be, so this isn't your time. You know, that might be in reverse one day, but at the same time, like, I kind of look at it, and sometimes, I mean, depends on who you are and who your friends' relationships are, but sometimes I'll look at, you know, some relationships and it's like, I literally wouldn't even want that. You know what I mean? Like, there's relationships that are like good examples, and there's relationships that it's like, that just seems like way more hassle than just being single.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right? Yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm actually glad I'm not in that, because like,
it makes you actually be thankful for like the situation you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So, and it's not always, just because all your friends in relationships doesn't mean it's happiness, rainbows, positive, fun all the time, right? That does also come with different layers of responsibility and another person that, you know, you care about, and you take their feelings and emotions into consideration. That can be a lot on certain people. But yeah, honestly, just be happy that you don't have to worry about anything at the time. Like, and like, you will one day, like, not worry, but I mean, like, you'll be in that situation and like understand it the other way around one day when you're like the person that's in a relationship. But no, I would just take it as it is for now, and that like you have the time to focus on you and only you. Yeah. And it gives you even more time, if all your friends are busy, to just focus on you and do your thing. Maybe make some other friends that aren't in relationships. But no, I totally understand. It can be hard, but at the same time, it is what it is, and it just gives you time to work on yourself and better yourself. So try and look at it that way.
Slay answer. Love it.
Okay, another one is how to be more confident around guys. Yeah, Michaela, take it away.
So
that's what she does every weekend.
Yeah, every weekend I go out, try to get a new boy. What can I say? Try to put myself out there, you know.
I feel like it's kind of tough, but it also feel like it just ties into just being confident around people. I guess if guys like make you feel intimidated or nervous, it comes down to just confidence, like at the end of the day, and like insecurities, right? Yeah. To me, in my head, maybe this is messed up, but I'm like, when I'm around guys, I'm like, ew. So in my head, I'm like, I don't need to impress nobody. So I'm already confident because I'm like,
I love that mentality.
Like in my head, I'm like, I don't need to impress a guy.
Yeah.
I'm not here to impress men.
Yes.
Like, that's not my thing. I'm like, I just want to be confident in myself.
Yes.
And be happy with myself. So I'm like, if someone is into that, like, you don't need to impress them. Like, your presence should already will be enough and will just impress them in general.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to do anything.
Yes.
So yeah, it would just be work on like your in general confidence, like overall confidence. I get that they can be intimidating sometimes, especially like, oh, like if you have a crush on someone, you're like, but I also can be on that same boat and feel intimidated around a certain guy. It's not that often, but when it happens, I get what you mean, because you just get in your head and you're like, why am I like this? Because you already know, like, I'm cool. I don't need to, I don't know, just like revert back to just like your own confidence, and that it doesn't really matter, because if this person likes you for who you are, you don't have to put on a front. Yeah. And you just got to be you. Yeah. But I do get that it can be uncomfortable sometimes, especially if you're like me and you're not around guys all the time. You're like, oh, and just because they have a different energy, like guys are just different in general. Yeah. So sometimes it's just like a weird energy vibe when you're around them. Like when I'm around girls, it's like so easy. It's just like, I just exist and it's easy, right? So I get that. But just at the end of the day, just be you. Do you and have confidence in you. And
honestly, just like, I feel like
that's attractive to guys too.
Yeah. And going into a lot of situations, just like, I know it's not very arrogant, but like being confident, you're just going to automatically like see yourself as superior than all of these like little men. Like that's kind of a good mentality to go into it with. Just be like, I don't need them. Who are they? Like, I'm better anyways. And that'll intimidate them. Yeah. You know?
And I also find it's funny because like you will know between like the guys that are mature and the guys that aren't, because the ones that aren't, when you have the confidence and you know your worth, they're like, oh, you're cocky. Like you think you're all that. Oh my God. And I'm like, girl, no, I just know my worth. Thank you.
That's when you know, but it's like toss them to the side.
Yeah. When they're grown, they're like, no, that's hot. Like, you know your worth.
Yes. Because they want a woman.
Yeah. Because they want a woman, not a little girl.
Exactly.
But I mean, some guys want little girls and that's creepy. Yeah. You need to work on yourself.
And I think you should go to therapy. Therapy.
But no, yeah. Your confidence will attract the right people. So start there.
Confidence is key.
Absolutely. Okay. Last question is, do either of you want to have kids?
Oh, fun. Future.
Totally switch up.
Whoa. Yeah, I definitely see kids in my future.
7 of them.
10 of them, 17 of them. 17. I'm gonna be cheaper by the dozen.
Cheaper by the dozen. Oh
yeah, no, I definitely do see kids in the future. But not anytime soon.
Not the near future.
Not in the near future. But I know, like, if something is meant to be, it'll be. That's my plan. Okay, is I don't want to have any kids anytime soon. We are not prepared for that mentally, physically, in any way. We do not want that to happen. But definitely, I would say like my vision right now is having them maybe around the age of 30. Mm-hmm. Around then, we'll see where I'm at that point in my life. Yeah. But like, obviously, as women, we kind of do have a ticking, like, you know, timer where it's like,
not trying to have a geriatric pregnancy.
Exactly. So we kind of,
which is crazy because they call it geriatric and it's like you're literally so young. It's like your 40s is geriatric, or like late 30s is geriatric.
But that's crazy. Like, we literally have a ticking timer on us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. What about you?
No, I definitely do. It's funny because when I was younger, I was like, because my mom was 25 when she had me, so I was like, oh, I want to be like 25 too.
Wait, that's crazy,
right? 25.
But it's like
thinking about it.
But like right now we're saying that's so young. But like looking at it from when we were like 17, we were like back in the day, I thought that I was gonna have kids in like my early 20s.
No, me too. You know, I thought, and now I'm like, and I was like, oh, having kids in your 30s sounds so late. Yeah. But now I'm like, no, that's probably more accurate.
Yeah,
for me.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, I definitely do. I would love to have 2 kids. I'm like a creature of habit where I'm the older sibling and then I have a younger brother. Mm-hmm. And it's like I would, just because like I was around that, I like that dynamic and I would do that. I definitely would want one of each. Gender,
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just think 2 kids would be good for me.
Yeah.
Good for me.
I think it'd be good for me.
Like that. Like, girl. Yeah. I don't know. I also could have none. I don't know. Yeah. I just want a mini-me so freaking bad. Yeah. Like, I could probably just have one daughter and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. But
I just want a mini-me so bad.
So bad. You're like, I need to get a girl.
Until she starts giving me 2 and I'm like,
wait,
never mind. You're like your mommy.
Reverse.
You're just like your mommy.
Yeah. Looks like she takes after me. But yeah, no, I get that. Also, I don't even want to sit here and say, oh, I want like 2, 3, 4 kids, whatever. Yeah. Because I know that once you actually have a kid, it like changes
yeah.
a lot, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize how much work this was gonna be.
You might be like, oh, I actually didn't even want this one.
So I have no idea, like, thinking about how many kids, because
You're
I
like,
don't know,
whatever.
like, you could be one and done. I mean, I want to say I definitely want my kids to have siblings because that's how I grew up too. But I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Like, I don't know. Like, I could go
Can't
back on what I'm
guarantee
saying.
nothing.
Yeah, because like, you know, things always happen and things are evolving. But isn't it crazy that back in the day, the norm was to have kids at literally like 19, 20?
Yeah, and they had so many.
Even like 18 or 17.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy.
No,
That
like my
is
grandma
crazy.
was like 19 or 18 or something.
Yeah.
Like with her second kid. Are you kidding?
Like, that's crazy town. And nowadays it's like so socially normalized and just normal to have kids more towards your 30s.
And still young too, though. Like, I feel like nobody really cares. Like, you can just whenever.
Yeah, literally.
I don't know. It's so crazy.
100%. It's just kind of like whatever happens, and people are like, oh, cool.
Cool. Nice. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
nice. Great. Well, I guess that kind of wraps things up for today's episode. We got a lot of good questions.
I'm like on the edge of my seat right now. I don't know why. I just feel so my legs were like going numb when I was sitting there.
Really?
I don't know. Sometimes my legs go like numb. I was sitting getting a lash lift the other day, and like you lay on your back and like I just have my hands like on my stomach, like just like that. And my pinky for some reason always goes numb.
What?
Yeah, like my pinky and like down my arm goes numb.
That's
and it, like,
so weird.
I don't know. My body just does that when I sit.
It just
long. Like my
it just
legs
goes
were numb,
numb.
so now I'm like moving all over
Now
the
you're like,
place.
shit. But yeah, those were some good questions. It was a big range of like different types of questions.
Yeah, lots of diversity.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that advice session and just like, I guess, questions. So
our unsolicited advice.
Yeah,
well, I guess it was
unsolicited.
solicited. Y'all asked.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I hope you enjoyed what we said, that any of this applies to you.
Yeah, and always feel free, if you guys do have any questions, to either DM us on the Instagram or even just leave comments down below, and we can like save them for future if we're ever going to do another session like this.
Yes, absolutely.
We'd be glad to answer. So yeah, I guess that kind of wraps things up. Always leave, you know, your suggestions for episodes down below so we can know what you guys want and create more of it. Let us know if you like the advice or if you like just more, you know, casual episodes. We love to hear the feedback. With that being said, we love you guys and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.